A very good afternoon, Team Zimbabwe. Masquera say, Masquera say, Masquera say. My name is Ronald Wekwa Makusha. Taking a look on this report from Newsday about United Nations warning Zimbabwe over violence. So the report says the United Nations has warned President Emerson Mnangagwa's administration to ensure the country holds non-violent polls this year, saying conflicts before, during, and after elections tend to have devastating consequences. Zimbabwe is expected to hold its general elections in August, and Mnangagwa is yet to proclaim the exact election date. Speaking at the Joint Steering Committee meeting of the 26 Zimbabwe UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework in Harare yesterday, UN Resident and Humanitarian Corps Coordinator Edward Callon said conflict reserves developmental gains achieved by any country. Here in Zimbabwe, in line with this commitment and the National Development Strategy, one priorities, the UN country team remains committed to strengthening governance and institutional capacities to build and sustain peace, promote transparent and accountable institutions, and advance human rights and the rule of law. That is what Callon said. So, in brief, what the UN is telling President Emerson Mnangagwa is that in 2018, we had disputed elections. What followed after those disputed elections is economic failure. Why? Is because the people without a mandate forced themselves on the people. There is no clear mandate from the people for ZANU-PF as a party. So if you take a look on how the economy deteriorated, how corruption loomed in the nation of Zimbabwe, it shows that the majority of the people who went into power didn't get power for the sake of developing Zimbabwe, but they got power for the sake of pursuing their own interests. And these are consequences of rigging an election. These are consequences of imposing yourself on the people. These are consequences of forcing yourself onto the people. You never do anything because you don't have the idea. When we have a contestation of ideas, it's different. When we give the best person with an idea and opportunity to lead, it's different. But in this case, so long tiripo chete, and the consequences will be seen. The consequences will affect the general populace of Zimbabwe, will affect everybody. No one will be spared from these effects. So, in as much as we try to bring change in the nation of Zimbabwe, let us make sure that we hold this government accountable. We make sure that these elections are free, fair, credible. I implore to the security forces, to the people who run these elections, let us be fair for once. Let us be truthful to each other for once. Let us have those with ideas sail through. Let us have those who are loved by the people sail through. That is my message, and I hope that we will take heed of this call by the United Nations. We know the United Nations is a toothless bulldog, but it's very important to note that without a consensus, there won't be development, and the consequences will be dire. So this is it, Team Zimbabwe.